Well, guys, it finally happened. Matt James is down to 2 people. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Matt James's father shows up unexpectedly, and what would life look like if he married Michelle or Rachel? So I was over here just doing some scroll saw work for tonight's giveaway. That's right, there's a giveaway. But let's get to Matt James's dad's interaction first. First off, it looked like Matt James's dad was totally blindsided. Hey son, hey, we're here to celebrate, right? No dad, I need to talk about serious personal issues on national television. Like, where did that come from? It really felt that he came out of nowhere with those questions. Maybe not to Matt's dad, but the one thing to remember is that when somebody pushes you, they're likely to push back. So when Matt came out with those questions about why weren't you there, essentially, his dad pushed back. Of course he's gonna push back. That scene was really difficult to watch, and I don't understand why an airing personal laundry on national television. The entire season, they've been showing a clip of Matt James crying. It had nothing to do with women. It had to do with his dad. I really thought one of these girls left. A lot of them did. I thought maybe he dumped somebody. He dumped like 25 of them. But I would have never expected those tears from his father. I'm very happy though that at the end, Matt James's dad said, "I'm sorry I hurt you, son." That can be so healing for somebody. And I'm glad that Matt James and his father had that reconciliation. Felt like the producers are desperate for material once again. So what did they do? Let's travel not to exotic locations, but hey, let's go to the depths of human misery instead. So let's blindside Matt James's dad with questions from Matt James's childhood. That'll make good TV. No, it didn't. It was awkward and painful to watch. This week, we had 3 fantasy suites, which means Matt James got laid 3 times. High five, bro. High five. You also used a line and a move that I'd been known to use too. Because you're a good-looking guy, I'm a good-looking guy. This is what happens to good-looking guys. But we're gonna get to that later. First, we're gonna talk about Michelle. One of my favorite parts about The Bachelor is how all these women see these beautiful setups and they're like, "Oh, thank you." The appreciation is great, but he didn't do anything. He did absolutely nothing. He didn't set the spa up. He didn't lay out the slabs of butter for you guys to lather yourself in. What was that? In the spa, there was oatmeal, there was butter, and there was a milk bath. Bathing in milk? You know how many gallons of milk that is? I don't know. Personally, that sounds gross. And then let's rub butter all over each other. And on fur rugs. Did none of the fur stick to them? I mean, it just sounds awful and not fun. They seem to laugh a lot because it's TV. I could tell you about the conversation they had, but honestly, the joke I'm about to tell you is way more entertaining. What do an apple and an orange have in common? They both can't drive. She said their connection really took off during the spa day, and I believe it did, because when you grease up a fat kid and send him down the slide, things move really fast, like most of The Bachelor. In this conversation with Michelle, Matt James opened up about wanting to be the man that his father wasn't. That was intriguing, because Michelle came back and said, yes, commitment. She said, "I'm going to tell you that I love you." And what did Matt James do? What every guy does when he can't say I love you. He goes in for the kiss. Now, I've been there, bro. I've been there, you know, having fun with a lady. She likes you, you like her, and then she just takes it one step further, and you're like, how do I handle this? Let me tell you, you go in for the kiss because it buys you a little bit more time. Just a couple of seconds. Maybe 10 seconds, maybe 20. But whatever it is, you have a little more time to figure out your game plan. She was very happy to tell him that she loved him. Matt James goes in for the kiss. Skirts the question. Now here's a theme, guys. Remember, when he was being interviewed by her class, the 5-year-olds, he also skirts the question. He's a skirter of the questions. I thought it was really cute when Matt James stood out on the balcony. I thought he was going to say something inspiring. Maybe quote a sonnet. Say, "I love you, Michelle." Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They just got a couple of shots of her twirling. That was it. So let's talk about Bree and their backpacking date. The producers likely bought some backpacks from Walmart, stuffed them with some air, made it look like there were sleeping bags on them, and said, "Hey, go for a stroll in the woods." At some point, Matt James is saying, "Oh, be careful of this river." It was a puddle. It was a freaking puddle. There was nothing there. And he's like helping her cross it, like, come on, guys. No, there's nothing there. Anyone who has ever been outside knows that's not a river. Then Matt James signals that he wants to keep it a secret that he's never been in the woods. No, Matt. We all know that you haven't been in the woods. It's okay. Just admit it. Just say you're a city boy. It's fine. I was a city boy until I moved to the South. Now I got all these tools. I'm out here scroll sawing. It's just life. I'm wearing overalls. So anyway, Matt James mentioned that Bree looked like Dora the Explorer. I think it was more like Legally Blonde, who got lost in the woods. Brie also said she wanted to show Matt James what it would be like if she was his wife. Yet she's never been in the woods. Neither of them have been in the woods. Neither of them seem to enjoy being outside. But how are you going to do that in an environment you've never been in? You're going to giggle, you're going to laugh, you're going to be on The Bachelor? Because let me tell you, honey, I've been married 6 times. Life is just like The Bachelor. Trust me. During their dinner conversation, they bonded over the trauma of both not having fathers. You got that trauma bond going on with Brie, which is pretty strong. But there's another contender for the trauma bond, which cannot be beat, my friend. We're going to get to her later. When Brie was expressing her feelings to Matt James, she again told him, I love you, I'm falling in love with you. And as he was talking to her, before she said all this, he starts crying. It really looked like he was crying. And I bet you, because I'm a guy too, bro, that you knew what was going to happen. You're like, I got to get rid of her, but you know what? One night with Brie, might as well just feel it out. And that, my friend, is not cool. If you knew that she wasn't the one because we saw it in your face, you should have been like, listen, I can't give you this rose. I know where this is going. You didn't need to take her back to your place, show her a good or bad time because of her comment in the morning when she said, oh, it was what I expected and more. So we all know what that meant. Basically means Matt's got a big Also, Matt again pulls the same move off. What's he do? She says, I love you. Then he goes in for the kiss. Second time he does that. Unbelievable, man. Dude, and you didn't buy yourself enough time. But I guess, depending on what perspective you have, maybe he did do well. I don't know. Let's talk about Rachel now. This was my favorite date fantasy suites of all. For a couple of reasons. One, because you had ghost action going on. You were going to get that smooth, let's get up on this clay. Let's touch this clay. Let's mold the clay. And let's also have a philosophical conversation about how clay creates foundation for life. How you need to be flexible and how you need to be understanding of the clay so that you can work with it. There's nothing like The Bachelor getting philosophical about life through hobbies. They seem to do it because their audience is definitely attracted to deep philosophical conversations. But she couldn't handle it. Rachel all of a sudden was like, I can't. You could see the pain on her face because she can't handle it. She can't handle the polyamory of The Bachelor. She's fallen apart. She has been because she is pathologically attached to Matt James. There, I said it. I'm out. Actually, I'm not out. But here's the thing. Rose would put it that she has an insecure, anxious attachment because she sees him as her husband already. But they're not even married. Technically, they're not even officially monogamously dating. During this conversation, she said she was worried, and he said, no, you're all I'm thinking about. No, you're not. You're straight up lying, bro. You're on The Bachelor to compare women and see which one you like the best. You're comparing Rachel every moment of every date of every day to all the other women that are on the show because that's the point of the show. Don't lie to us, bro. Finally, after this conversation was over, we got that sweet ghost moment. Just, clay everywhere, just moving around, feeling the vibes. And then, dinner time. She said she'd been ready for weeks to marry him. But when you put this in perspective, basically means after 3-4 weeks, she was ready to marry him. I think that's a little fast. I had a relationship like that once. Let me tell you how it ended. Boom, boom, boom. Just like when she crash landed during skydiving. And that's how I think this might end up, but we're going to get to that a little later. Rachel's dress for dinner was amazing. She looked gorgeous. Here's the other peculiar part. So the other 2 girls got very nice rooms to have sex with Matt in, whereas Rachel got an entire house and she got fireworks. What the hell is that? All the other girls knew and could see she got fireworks. Also, I bet that Matt is telling the producers I'm leaning towards Rachel because why would they up her ante and her context so much if she wasn't in the running? Good writers like to plant seeds of what's to come. And if a giant house and fireworks isn't a seed to show who's going to end up where, I don't know what is, unless they do that to throw us off track. Let's finally talk about the rose ceremony. He let Brie go. I was sad. Brie was sad. But the difference between Brie and I is that when we cry, Brie looks like a an angel. I don't. She is so gorgeous, even when she was crying. And the level of maturity that she showed was astounding. There are a couple of really mature ladies on this season. And during her exit with Matt James, when she was talking, she said, I can be hurt and I can be sad, but I'm not going to be angry and I'm not. She is so emotionally intelligent. Personally, I would have dropped everything and said, you know what? You win. Here's the last rose. I'm going to go burn the others because I don't need them. But he's not gonna. I'm going to tell you why. Because the other trauma bond he has is with Rachel. And that trauma bond is the strongest yet. And it's happened twice now. It happened once when she crashed and he said, "Oh, I was worried I was going to lose you because I was taking you for granted, and it brought to mind how much I like you and what it would be like if I lost you." Then you see in their previous conversation during their date when she couldn't handle the polyamory anymore, that again, she was in pain. So Matt comes to the rescue. That pattern is going to win her the Bachelor. What I thought really would have been great, and the producer should have made this happen, so if you guys want to borrow this idea, that's totally cool, is that during that last rose ceremony, when it was only Rachel and Michelle left, they should have had a special guest appearance. Sarah and Heather should have showed up in a minivan. Like, how awesome would that have been? Final rose ceremony, 2 girls left. Heather rolls out of the minivan. Sarah rolls out of the minivan. Who else is in the minivan? Nobody knows. I also have a couple predictions for life. So, Michelle is a lovely lady. I think if Matt and Michelle get together, it would sort of be like Kindergarten Cop, except it would be starring Vin Diesel instead. They would have lots of children. The 5-year-olds would question him. He would grow anxious and think it was a brutal conversation and interview. Michelle would be a lot of fun. They'd probably do a lot of push-ups together, hanging out. Probably be a good life. But with Rachel, boom, boom. We all know it's going to happen with Rachel. I think when they get together, with all this fanfare floating around that Rachel is a racist, because in 2020, 2021, you can, as a racist, you can love the association that you don't like. That's how 2021 works. In 2020. So even if they do get together, I don't think it's going to last because of that trauma bond, because it's too much too fast. She's too insecurely attached. And knowing Matt and his profile, she's going to be running after him. He's going to be moving away. He's not going to stay here. They're not going to meet up. It's going to go like this. Their relationship will be similar to what happens after a Tony Robbins seminar. You feel really amped up for a while, and then, boom, it's over. I suppose you're wondering how I know all this. It's because my girlfriend makes me watch The Bachelor. But I wanted to talk about that giveaway before we sign off. I am giving away to one of my top fans who leaves a comment and smashes the like button below, randomly, this beautiful hand-carved Matt James lettering. See? Look at that. It says Matt James. This is an exclusive My Girlfriend Makes Me Watch The Bachelor item. That's what I was scrolling before. This beautiful Matt James trinket. It can be yours. Smash the like button. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will randomly choose one fan to receive this beautiful item.